Yeah, so that as mentioned that if that happens, that if we already have the companies on the waiting list, then then we can easily just
Okay.
yeah accept your assignment and yeah. So I think this is all good for you.
Okay. So also I would like to know how long do you want us to tell you in advance in terms of the assignment that we trying to look for someone for you.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a little bit long.
You have 30 years.
3 years. That's a little bit long. And okay, so if you have a waiting list and then there's someone there,
Yeah.
okay, then of course easily you
Yeah.
have someone to replace.
Yes.
That's fine. But what if we find someone, alright, but you don't like it, so you say no, I don't want this guy in the store, like in my building. Okay, fine. That could happen, right?
Yeah.
For some reason that could happen. In that case, then what can we do then?
We don't want to make you so difficult. So we would like to just create some criteria. If they can meet these criteria, of course there's no problem, because we still understand that in most of cases why you don't want to stay here is maybe your company changed like the Nokia in the past. They're doing something completely different.
Yeah.
So that may happen, and if we continue ask you to fulfill the contract, and then we also will bear the loss for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody needs the reputation on the market. So that is the reason why that I would like you to make the proposal 3 years, because that in that case you already know something. Because if you want to change, or no matter what kind of the reason, you already prepared for that. So it will be a good idea to discuss that earlier, much earlier. Then it's better, because think about it, you also have all these kind of customer suppliers.
Yeah,
That
course.
is also really difficult to handle. So generally speaking, I think that what we really concern is that if you find a replacement and how we can manage that. So we have some criteria. The first is that of course there is a condition. Why we would like to discuss with you about the assignment is because that maybe you are facing the bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for this one, maybe that I thought maybe this also discussed the termination of the contract.
Other part of the contract.
Yeah. Another thing is that you changed your business model dramatically. That you don't want to go for your current business, the return like the store department anymore. So you have to do that. Now, of course, we accepted that. Then this is the condition. So firstly, we must meet the condition. I think that we are talking about the long-term project, the long-term cooperation, and it's difficult to say that after 20 years she said I don't want to work here, and because this area is not really good for me. But I think that is something we already discussed before. So right now I would like to make the condition only for you change your business model dramatically.
Okay, but this also okay, so basically your condition for us to make the assignment is bankruptcy or drastic change in business.
Yeah.
Or strategic change.
Yeah. Because we
how
also,
drastic can it be?
Yeah, because we also provided you like the flexible even for the use of the facility. So if you still under your company's name, and that's no problem. So you have a really flexibility to do that. Even that you want to change if you still focused on retail, you still focused on the department store, there's no problem. But it's just like you completely don't want to go for this industry, then of course that it's another story.
Okay, so if let's say, I understand it as if let's say we decide to go for e-commerce totally, right? We're gonna focus on the Tmall store, for example, or
Yeah.
Amazon store, then forget it, right? So this is the kind of drastic change that
Yeah,
we're talking
sure.
about. But what if it's like we are still doing retails,
Mm-hmm.
but then by our corporate strategy, saying that we are going to withdraw from the EU market
Okay.
and move to Asia, for example, or Southeast Asia. In that case, does it consider as drastic change to strategy?
If you said that you don't have any other business in Europe, I do believe this is the strategy changed because that you completely reduced your coverage that in the world.
Right. In terms of the financial status, I'm not so sure if you actually want us to back off when we actually face bankruptcy issue. Because I think we have the basic rent, and on top of that is the sales rent.
The bankruptcy issue, that means that you already filed that your company that in the court or maybe in the government.
Yeah, I know. So I was saying that's already in the worst case, right? If let's say we actually have dwindling rents, dwindling sales, we're not yet bankrupt. But you can see we don't give you as much as sales rents anymore, or we barely maintain a basic rent, or we can't even maintain a basic rent. Do you still want to keep us here?
But I think that is not an assignment. That is kind of if you have the business the problem, and then we need to understand. I think that you also need to understand how you can improve that.
Yeah, of course.
But from our side, that is not the reason that you stop the contract, because the contract that we are here, of course, is based on the
Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is this. So if let's say we have 5 stores in total in Europe, right? And because we're not doing well, we've tried our best, our methods, whatever, to do better. But turn out we say that, out of the 5 stores, I need to close 2 because not all 5 are profitable anymore. We can't maintain so many stores if people are not even coming. So let's just keep 3 only. And the Amsterdam one happened to be the one to be crossed off. In that case, so it fits on the strategic change rather than financial weakness. Is that the understanding?
I understand. Then the reason will be why you decided to shut down the one in Amsterdam. It's it's just like the company's decision. But of course that I understand that you definitely need some flexibility about that. So what we are trying to do is like firstly, of course we don't want you go for that scenario.
Definitely.
But if you really go for that one, and at least that we should understand, and there's really something from your business strategy, like the annual report is already mentioned that this is the strategy you want to go for.
Okay.
So they must be already published, and there's also some from the financial part, of course, that is important. We can see the downtrend.
Okay. So am I right to say that this kind of assignment, provided we notice you early, right, about whether it's strategy change or we happen to be going bankrupt or financially weak and therefore we withdraw from the market or withdraw from the area. That kind of thing can take place throughout our tenancy. That 30 years. It can happen, let's say, in the 10 years time, it can happen in 15 years time or 25 years time, or,
No, actually, I haven't discussed with you about that because we're firstly talking about the criteria.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to go for the period or still focused on the.
I think the criteria is fair.
Because the criteria, yes, but this is for your company, for the summit, but also that for the talent, your replacement, we also have some criteria rules that.
Oh, sure, of course. Please tell me.
Yeah, so that definitely we want to have the thoroughly the background checking
Oh, of
for
course.
this company. So at least we have three major concerns that we need to remove.
Yeah.
Is firstly that their financial health and the profitability.
Well, okay. That's
So
fair.
yeah, at least that they should have their profit. At least they should be profitable
Yeah.
in the last 5 years.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So profitability.
Yeah.
Right. That's the first one.
In last 5 years.
In last
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah. Every
okay.
year, that they should keep the profitable.
Okay.
Then the second one is that they will follow exactly the same what we're talking about in this contract about the obligation, the use,
So they
something.
fully, as in they fully support and will exercise their rights under the
Yeah.
lease that we have, the existing lease that we have, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then the third one is that they should also have a good reputation.
Of
So
course.
yeah, so for the reputation, that
Okay.
we would like to set the standard is
Yeah.
at least they should be the top 15 in Europe, or the top 50 in the world. This is based
Okay.
on their
In terms of what?
sales revenue.
Sales revenue.
Yeah, so it's easy to compare.
I thought we were talking about reputation, so no, it's about sales revenue.
Well, the reputation normally, if you don't have a good, so reputation is difficult to make the ranking.
Yeah,
If you can
exactly.
find another good one to replace, I'm also fine. But we can also like use because like the Fortune 500, they also use the sales revenue.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can also say that you have the company that what kind of a ranking, but in my opinion that the sales revenue, at least you can say it's pretty easy for both of us to judge if they are really meet the standard.
Okay. Here there's also a problem, top 15 in EU or top 50 in the world.
Yeah.
What base are we talking about? So if let's say, because it can't be like you ask a retailer, right,
Yeah.
to be top 15 of all business. That's just not possible. One Apple is going to beat the shit out of all of us, right? So that's not comparable. So I presume when we say the top 15 is among the top 15 retailers in
Yes.
the franchise stores, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is already mentioned in the second round, because they exactly the same, because they also use this one as the department store.
Yeah.
So this is already their background checking. Because background checking, that means that we definitely want the similar companies in the same industry. But this is really just to say it's like kind of standard that we can easily to agree.
Okay, so the reputation is actually
Yeah, you
measured
can
in terms
mention
of
that
sales revenue.
the top the reputation is based on in the retail.
So for example, like a Mark and Spencer, UK
Yeah.
big retailer, that's fine, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Or even like the Bikenkopf, I don't know.
Yeah, Bikenkopf.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. What about because we are talking about top 15, for example, in Europe.
Yeah.
What if it's still a big chain, let's say in Netherlands, like Bikenkopf, but it's not yet 15 in the Europe, because you have so many countries still in Europe, and they are pretty big still. In that case, what can we do? Or
because your business is not only in Netherlands.
yeah, exactly.
You are in other European countries.
Yeah.
So that we want to, when we decided to sign a contract with you, we already consider your position on the market. So you are not a Dutch chain.
Yeah.
So
okay.
so your reputation and also your position is much higher than that. And this is the reason why we don't want to really focus on the Netherlands.
Okay. So which means that your consideration also includes the globalness of the brand, or in other words, the
Firstly, I want just to put the Europe, but later I think that yeah, maybe that you want to. It's difficult for you to find the one, and so I will also put the worldwide. Worldwide, they even increased to increased 33 because that is 50, and you're 15 in
no,
Europe.
come on. If you don't even make it to EU 15, I don't think you can make it to World 50. That's the problem.
So this is that like recently that in Netherlands we have the Hudson Bay
Yeah.
from Canada. So that is also another good example. So we are not really focus you. I mean strict. I mean give you a really strict policy.
Let me just check one thing.
Sure.
Where is Hudson Bay in terms of
Sure.
world ranking? Hudson Bay. I don't know if I can find something like this. Well, it says Hudson Bay is ranked one of 50 best corporations in Canada. But that's in Canada.
But Hudson Bay, that they are not actually they are smaller. I just give you an example. It's not to say they are really big. They just an example because you were talking about the Hudson Bay. They are working. They replace who? VND. VND is not the same position as Summit. It's different.
Okay, we don't really see the kind of company rankings. What if we actually just look at the sales revenue alone instead of saying the ranking 15 or 20 or what? Because that can be
But sales revenue based on what?
total annual sales revenue
But
for the retail
you mean
chain.
you want to have number?
Yeah,
But the world is changing.
exactly. Okay.
Because maybe that like Amazon that they already several times that bigger than before.
Yeah, I'm just worried that what if we can't find someone within the top 15? So that can be problematic.
I think 15 in Europe, this is really big range, generally speaking.
Are we able to extend it to 20? And I'm not gonna make a fuss about it anymore.
But we may think about something else. Maybe if we can go for something else that we're talking about because for this one that actually we calculate we already calculated you right now you are one of the top 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
what about the Bayside store? Do we have any info on that?
So for us that you are one of the top 5 and we give you almost the triple times of the range.
Okay. All right. Still. I thought you give me top 20, or can we just shorten the notice period instead of 3 years? Let's have 2 years instead.
Another thing I want to discuss with you is that
maybe let's talk about other things you want to discuss.
Yeah,
first.
because generally speaking that you did a really good job in the last several years, and also we can see right now all the ranking companies give your Summit a really good the credit. So we don't think that you should have a big problem in the next 20 years. So
we don't think so too, but when we talk about this, it's really about worst case. You know? We don't want to get stranded onto the remote island just because of the contract, So we're just planning for the worst case. Of course, we are confident that we will still be around for at least another 10 years.
Sure.
Right.
So assignment that we want to keep 20 years unable to change. So for the last 10 years, because the contract is 30 years.
Yeah.
So for the first 20 years, there should be no any change. Because for the 10 years, definitely you are okay. For the next 10 years, right now that all the ranking company give you a really good ranking.
Okay, good that you bring up this point. I think this is more important than the top 20 or top 15.
No, we need to consider a lot of details. Actually, that for the use for the first time when we talk about that, I just try my best to provide you the more flexibility, even that for the 1 week or something, you give me your first, I didn't say anything because I think that is important for you. We want you to be we want you to be really quick and to be the really the agile company in this industry. So we of course we want to help you to grow. Then there's no any problem in the future. Then we want assignment or something.
Okay, I think 20 years is a bit too long for my side. If I tell my boss I have a 20 years assignment, I'll probably get fired soon. If not tomorrow.
So what is your idea?
Of course, you know, as a company, we want to be as strong as possible in terms of this. But to be fair, you know, this is also a huge impact on everyone else. I was thinking, can we just agree to 10 years? So for the first 10 years, no assignment. But after 10 years, at least you need to let us have some window opportunity to discuss. Because things could change after 10 years. But before 10 years, okay, maybe things won't change that drastically, right?
But now you also have the plan and to go for even for the like electronic and that area. I think
you
that
never know, it can flop. Big company, bad decisions, that happens. Look at Nokia, right?
So Nokia. So that is the reason why that we also provide a really flexibility and for the use that if you still focused on the retail, then you can do a lot of things you want.
Yeah, I understand. But imagine, right? Of course, it's just hypothetical. Imagine suddenly the Dutch people who used to shop becomes like Japanese who don't want to go out at all. They just want to stay at home.
I understand.
Right? That's a structural change to the market.
I understand.
Then in that case, you know, it's not like no matter what product I add or what kind of technology I put in, it's not gonna solve the problem because people are not curious about the market anymore. They just want to stay at home.
Yeah. So you think about that maybe that even like in other countries like in China, now people they really don't want to go for shopping and want to go online.
Right. So that's a structural change. So that's why we don't want to tie it up for 20 years, knowing that nobody's gonna come.
But I fully understand your concern. But right now you can see that the flexibility for you. For the use, that will also give you a lot of room to change even your business strategy because you can put more something like the training or even the experience workshop or something that in that area. So this is all that we already discussed. If there is no any third party get involved, then you can really easy to change that. For example, like your marketing or something. But if there is something that really to be changed, then we can also fully cooperate with you to do that. So, but also I think another thing we needed to discuss is about the subletting. Because if in the worst situation, you really want to get rid of that, so you have another option is that you can submit in that your current area to another company, right?
Yeah.
Because that we are talking about the assignment, that is you completely left this area, you left this building. But we can also say, but if the situation is not really, it's really bad, like what we expected, that people don't want to go shopping on site, you want to reduce your area, that is also possible. So that is something about the subletting, because you can do that.
Alright, let's park assignment and see what you can offer on subletting then.
Yeah, because for the assignments, then I think we already talking about the criteria or something.
Yeah, I think that's agreeable, right? Yeah. So right now on assignment, what I can't agree is 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Right? Yeah. The criteria more or less fine, but of course if you can extend to top 20, I would be more than happy. Alright, 3 years I think that's fair, even though of course I would prefer shorter time, like 2 years. Alright, but let's see what you can offer on sublet.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Sublet, okay.
So for subletting, firstly, I want to understand, because in my opinion, there's two different situations.
Yeah.
One is that one is very similar, like what we already discussed for the use, because that you can submitting your department area.
Yes.
For example, maybe you want to give this area to Louis Vuitton, but later you change it, you give it to Gucci or somebody else. So this is possible, right?
Okay.
Uh,
You mean okay, just help me understand.
Uh-huh.
So when you say that I promised to give it to Louis Vuitton, right? Then after that I actually give it to Gucci.
Yeah, maybe you change that.
So are you
yeah.
saying that because it can be two scenarios. Two scenarios is I do not deliver my promise to LV and I put it sublet to Gucci instead. That's one. Or are we saying that I did offer like that I did sublet to LV, but 5 years later I sublet the same space to Gucci? Which scenario are we talking about here?
I think they actually pretty similar because this is kind of overlap with the use we're currently talking about. Because previously I thought that this is like kind of subletting, but now but you talk about the use. Because when you said that you may want to change something, and for me it's like I want to change because firstly I already mentioned that this specific area is for LV.
But
and
that's not use anymore. That's subletting because use should be anything under my name, submit store. But subletting is I crop out this place.
So I have two conditions. One is like still under your name. Under your name. So we can put this back to the use. This is in my previous thinking about that.
Okay.
So it's different. Another is about the new talent.
Okay.
So it's like that it's like in the past I have 20,000 square meters and it's all under Summit's name. Yeah. So now I want to give for maybe half to another company. Now I keep half because maybe the economy is not good or maybe my market is not I want to change something. So in my opinion there's a two because something that I didn't discuss with you about the use and I put in the first scenario is under your name but you would like to change because you submit that because actually you will sign the contract with like for example with LV. Yeah, so for me that is also the subletting because I firstly sign a contract with you and then you sign with them. Yeah.
So that's sublet. I agree. Sorry. So you mentioned two scenarios.
Yeah.
First scenario is
under your name.
Yes, under my name.
There's a shop in your shop.
Exactly. So LV store in my Summit store kind of setting, right? That's the first one. That's exactly what I meant by subletting. What's your second?
Second one is that you subletting the area not under your name.
Okay, so the other one
you maybe give you give to Hudson Bay or someone else that you are because that you probably want to downsize your shop.
Okay.
So the first one is that you still keep your shop. You just change the different shops inside.
Okay.
Yeah. The second is that you want to change the size.
But you are saying that you only allow for the first one, not the second one.
For the first one, because I want to discuss with you because for the first one, I have something that because I said it's kind of overlap with the use, but there's still some specifically that I still want to discuss.
Sure.
Because we already said for the use that we should have the association, and that is because I'm concerned about that. Because even for the new talent, we still want to go for the background checking. But of course, this background checking is not so
strict as
like what we did. Yeah, this one is more about what they can comply with what your most of ours. It's mainly based on the rules and the plans and the same like the use. So it must be the retail and also the department store. So it's similar like this area. So yeah, and the second one is the competition. So this we already discussed.
Okay.
Yeah, so there should be no competition. If there's there's some competition, we need to discuss.
Okay. But then if there's competition for the sublet units, how will your voting thing change? Does it change the voting criteria? No.
No, still under your name. So you are still you still make the really you still use your
Okay. So,
because
so
still
the
under
voting
your
rights
name.
is on the,
Yeah, under your name.
Okay.
Yeah. But another thing is that the important thing is that we don't want you change a lot every year.
Yeah.
Because that if you change so frequently, that is also the customer will feel really confused. Why
Yeah, of
not
course.
this? So we want to make this size every year. It should be more than 10% of your total area. Every year.
You mean the change or the existing?
The change. For example, you said that you have 20,000 square meters this year, and LV they have 100. Then you want to change them from LV to another one. So we want you to keep the size within 10%.
Oh, okay.
So it's the 2,000 square meters.
So if I want to have another one,
Next
then I
year.
have to kick out someone to.
Don't do it so frequently because the customer don't like that, according to our experience.
Okay, I mean I don't quite understand this scenario.
We can give you example because like you have the store and you have 20,000 square meters. So 10% is 2,000.
Yeah.
Then if you said currently I have a really high standard the supermarket. I only sell the import material or organic, and this is like 1,000 square meters. You want to change it? It's fine because this is 1,000 square meter, so you can change this year.
So but you mean my change quota is 2,000 square?
Yeah.
Like 10% of my total?
Yeah, every year.
Every year?
Yeah.
Okay, so that means if let's say first year, I sublet my 10% to LV, for example. And then second year, there's this organic supermarket that wants to be part of some store.
It's fine.
Then I can also sublet to...
Yeah, because you have another quota.
Another quota, okay.
Yeah, every year.
Every year.
Yeah, I put this one, firstly I want to put 3 years, but I think that's too much. I think 10% is pretty reasonable because that you probably want to change a lot. Because like you mentioned the VR, because maybe that this area in the past it's about the always the clothing or something, the shoes, you want to try it, but now you change it completely. So that is something that I didn't mention really carefully in the use, because for that use it's only about the general, but here it's more about under your name. You want to change it, it's fine, but don't change it so big.
Okay, so every year I have 10% of my total size as a quota for additional subletting. But existing sublets, if let's say LV doesn't want to be there, I can just sublet the LV space to someone else.
That is also in your quota because you change. This is about the change.
Okay, so if let's say a store that actually still under my name that actually wants more than 10%, because the equipment is just bigger than the normal stuff, so then they need let's say 15%, then they can't. They can only have the extra 5% next year? No, come on.
No, the problem is that the thing about if you really have this kind of the chance, you need over 10%, because we are really would like to you stay there. You have your name, and if you change a lot, this is also really
No, I mean it's not because I want to change, but it's just that they needed more space. It's still that one store, but that one store just simply need more space because the items are bulky, for example. Right? Normally I can pack 3 shelves in 1,000 square meters, but this
Yeah.
one I also need 3 shelves, but you know, each shelf is like twice bigger than the other shelves due to the physical size of the goods. In that case, you know, how I can't just say that, oh, you have only 10%.
Let's make it like 20%, 2 years.
2 years, 20%.
Yeah.
How does it work then? So every 2 years you can change, but
You still can change every year. It's just that like what you said, if they need a much bigger than 2,000 square meters, then you change it. So in the past, they changed it to 2,000 to 2,000, and now you can have a 4,000.
But does it mean that next year I can't change anything anymore because I used the quota? No.
You already changed the 20%. What else you want to change in 2 years? You that is
No,
only
but,
one.
but, no, but I'm
It's a
just,
really big percentage of your department store.
wait, just to help me understand this a bit, right? So, cause I'm not confused rather than it's not like I'm not agreeing to anything. I just confused.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So we are saying that every 2 years I have a quota of 20%.
Yeah.
But I can make the change every year.
Yeah. You can make the change. You can change it in the first year, 20% all of them. But for the next year, that you are 0. Or you can also say for the first year, there's nothing changed. But the second year, I want to change 20%. So it's exactly the same like what I said for the 1 year 10%. It's just we make it bigger. So if you have any customer, they really need much bigger, 20%. That is really huge.
Okay. Anything else on sublet that you want to discuss?
The notice period,
Yep.
2 years. Because that in the assignment that I said 3 years, here 2 years because this is under your name. I think that you can also control that much easier. And also this is a big change.
Okay. Okay. And what about not under my name?
Not under your name,
Yeah.
then I want to know more than 20% in your total contract period. Because right now that we really give the really good conditions. It's based on that we know that you won't be here.
No more than 20% of the total space.
Yeah.
To be sublet.
Yeah, to other company.
Okay, but that's not under my Sami store, right?
No.
They just have individual names.
Yeah, they will become your neighbor. Because if you said I want the 100%, you already the assignment. So here is just we want to give you more flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20%.
And for the under my name, is there a quota as to how much I can sublet in total in terms of the space?
No.
No.
No. But it's only under your name.
Yeah. I'm talking about under my name.
Yeah. But as we mentioned, you cannot change the firstly that we need to check the background.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and also the competition.
Yeah, of course. That I totally understand. Of course, I don't want to dig a hole for myself also, right? So when we search for reliable subletting partner, we also look at these things. So I think in that we are aligned, right? But my only concern here is, how about this? So we can stick to that 20% change thing. Because I think that's sensible. Like, of course, you can't be changing your store location, composition of the goods so often. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But just because we also have a very long assignment period, as you know, we need some flexibility. If let's say business is not doing well, at least we have other components to provide revenue for us, right? So in that case, for the total subletting area under my name, under Summit Store's name,
Yeah.
can we have up to 70% of the total space? Because I'm tied down by assignment for 20% for 20 years. I can't run, and if I can't make even the basic rent, then I have to seek revenue elsewhere.
You mean under your name?
Yeah, under my name.
Under your name, you need what?
Under my name, I need at least 70% of my space that can be sublet.
70%, 70.
Yeah.
70. But you know that now we already provide you, 10% per year. So actually, you can do that. It's just that the 10% every year, actually you can have more.
Yeah, so this is the thing I didn't understand is the 10% thing.
Yeah.
So let's say first year, right? We are saying that we can only allocate 10%.
Yeah.
Right, for subletting. Second year, the change you can have is 10%.
Yeah.
But if let's say the existing sublet units actually needs change for some reason, not because of me, but because the partner doesn't want to stay here anymore.
Yeah.
Then finding someone to replace that first 1,000, first 10% is already part of the change. Then I can't actually bring in new person for sublet, right?
Because for yours is the same, that you also needed a long-term cooperation with your supply partner.
Which is true. Of course, we want a long-term partnership.
Yeah.
My concern here is, again, worst-case scenario, whereby the partner, even though they are good, they are confident, but when it's come to reality, they realize, oh, I actually can't make money doing this. They withdraw, right? Then in that case, I can't change a lot of things.
You can change a lot, because that normally even for the office building that you need a 5 years contract. So normally how many years do you sign a contract with your partner suppliers?
For subletting, we might sign a contract for 2 years.
2 years. So that in 2 years you have 20%.
So how about that? So we still have the 10% or 20% every 2 years for the change.
Yes.
But the starting amount of space that we can use to sublet, let's agree to a number. Let's say 70%.
Then what is the reason you need the 70%? Because if you 70% that in 1 year.
No, not in 1 year. So 70%, because every year I can only change 10%. Right, which means that if someone leave, I fill up the space.
Yes. This is one change.
That's already part of the 10%.
Yeah.
And if there's others that I want to add in, I can't because that exceeds the 10% or 20% for whatever reason.
It's the same because
But then that means I'm limited to only, let's say, 15% or 20% of the space that I can sublet, which may not be optimal for me.
But if you want to get other people in, you have to get the people out, right?
No, so this is what I'm saying. So first year, I might sublet to, let's say we agree that I can sublet to 70%, right? Yeah. But maybe first year, I don't need to sublet to so many people. So I sublet to only one store.
Yeah.
That accounts for the 10%, right? Second year, there are more people now seeing that, oh, Summit Store is a good store in this location. I want to join them. Can you sublet some space for me? And I'm good. I provide quality goods, not in competition with other things. You know, then I can open up the space, say, yeah, I do have space. Come and join me. Instead of saying, oh, you know what? I can only give you 10% because this year is my quota. If let's say there are two, new vendors coming in. So that's what I'm saying. I need a starting space. So I can try to minimize the change so that we don't disrupt our business, don't disrupt our image, right? Because consumers also love inertia. They don't want changes so often. I understand that. But I need to have a flexibility whereby if people need to come in, I have space to open up to them and say, come in. Because I may not fully sublet my whole 70% in the first year. And by saying that you can only change 10% a year, I will never be able to sublet as much as I need to.
Okay.
Right?
So you mean the total you want to?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if that really happened in your company's history, because like you just completely changed half or more than half of your suppliers.
You have to know that this Article 22 has always been like this for all other developers. And I have a concern here. If other developers hear that, oh, how come you signed Article 22 that's different from mine with rights? I actually have a lot of explanation to do.
Okay.
Right?
Can we do 40%?
40% is too low, unless you are able to give me 10 years for assignment.
Because we really don't want is a big change.
Yeah, see, what I want is flexibility. It doesn't mean that eventually I actually do sublet 70%, but I need a flexibility in case I can't make it for the rent. You don't want me to be in a situation where I can't pay you the rent, right?
But the 40% is for the total, and how we can manage that the 10% every year? Can you give me an example?
So starting, we say that 40% is you can let, for example, in this case, 40%. We didn't agree to that yet.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this first year.
No, Ada. Actually, for the first year, it's your decision. You are 100% okay. No matter who you want to get in, that is your company's strategy. What we are really focused on, we don't want you to change so frequently. So from the very beginning, you are 100% free to choose whatever you want.
Yeah, that's fine. So first year is over, we can choose whoever the time.
Yeah.
But first year, I might use only 5% of my space for subletting only. Right? Next year, because they see that, oh, you have been successful, 5 more vendors say, we want to get some subletting from you. And they are good vendors, right? They don't cause competition, they're good vendors, they're profitable. Now, they probably can eat up to another 20% of my space. So now I have 25%, right?
Okay.
So in this case, the change is 20%. Or maybe I need a little bit more. Let's say if they eat up to 25%, okay, that's fine. But maybe the third year, I don't want anyone to sublet, or they don't have good quality ones. And then another year, right? They say that, oh, okay, there's another vendor, or one of the existing vendor actually left. I need to find someone to replace it because I may not have business to showcase in the space, right? So that person left. I need to fill it up to fulfill my, say, 35%. But then maybe at the same time I have a new vendor coming in that they can occupy the last 5%.
Okay.
But in total, the change will be more than 10%.
I understand your concern. How about this? We just increased the 10% to 40% every year.
40% every year.
So it's like almost at half of you are flexible to change them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So which means that technically there's no limit to how much I sublet, but every year the change cannot be more than 40%.
Yes.
Okay.
But of course you have 2 years notice period.
2 years notice period. Okay, I think that's fine because we also need to do due diligence checking, competition.
I think it's a win-win situation.
Getting auditors at least 1 year to finish that.
Yeah,
so
because
I agree.
I don't believe you will change so fast. You just need the flexibility to do that.
Right. Okay, so 40% change every year. We are allowed to, and that can happen during the entire tenancy 30 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I need to give you a 2-year
Yeah,
notice,
yeah.
but that 2 years include also the procedure to check
Yes.
due diligence, background check, and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So back to the assignment.
No, we have the new talents that we said the 20%, right? That is okay.
You mean not under my name?
Yeah.
It? Oh, right. There's another thing that we need to discuss. Not under my name.
We really don't want you. We really don't want to see that you are reduce your size in this shopping mall, because you are the anchor, and if you are reduced, you are not anchor anymore.
How about this? Yeah, I mean, 20% probably won't change my status as an anchor. I'm pretty sure I'm the largest, right? How about this? So let's say within the first 5 years, we can negotiate this. Within the first 5 years, no more than 20%. Because I don't think we will actually end up having to sublet to anyone.
The period is something we need to discuss with assignment as well.
Okay.
So let's talk about something else, because for the new talent is the same. Firstly, I said 20%, and also we needed to do the
background check.
Yeah, background check.
That one definitely. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Criteria totally fine.
Yeah, and also the competition. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Then for the period, I want the.
But right now, okay, on the criteria, because it's now not under my name, so the voting rights is not in favor of me, right? It's purely depends on how this store is versus the other store.
No, for this one, that it's the same, because you are subletting. You are subletting.
So because I'm still taking the whole contract responsibility.
Yes.
So that's why I'm still negotiating.
If they don't pay, you need to pay. So you still have the voting power.
Okay.
Yeah. But they are talking about the period. I still want 20%, 20 years. There's no change, firstly. Because you are the anchor.
That's aligned with the, as in that's
assignment.
Tied to the assignment.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. Assignment 20 years is really too long for me. I will get fired for this, for sure. Like, if we agree to 20 years, I can start typing my resignation letter right now. Really, that's
What is the reason? What is the concern from your company?
Concern is really like corporate strategy might change, right? Such that maybe after 10 years we decide to pull out from EU markets, right? So that could be that's like the main reasons actually. We don't know if that happens. That's purely hypothetical. Don't quote my word saying that, oh, you got 50% chance that happening. No. Right? Maybe 10%, so remote. But we want flexibility. There is still a chance saying such thing could happen. Right? And we don't want to tie down to a contract saying we can't even leave the building. But we don't exist in the EU market anymore. We don't want to do that.
I understand, but you know that because we are actually, when we are building this shopping mall, we also customized a lot of facilities according to your requirement. So 10 years for that kind of investment, it's really it's unable to cover that.
Okay.
So this is also something that from our side. I don't know if you can think about, if we reduce the 20 years, then are you okay to pay for some fee?
Fees to compensate you for?
Yes, because that you actually is a kind of like I don't know, to terminate. It's like you early terminate without any condition. Because here we're talking about
this could be an early termination, right? Which is covered under the termination part of the contract.
But here that we're talking about the assignment.
But assignment means I actually found someone to continue paying the same rent for me. Yeah. And you don't lose anything, right? Come on.
But still losing something, because that there's a change, and we even don't know that what else that we need to do with them. And also, the most important thing is that we said we're working with the summit, but later on that we changed. This is also about the reputation, the expectation from the other satellite, because we do provide a lot of benefit. Then, so we want you to stay here longer with us.
Yeah, I understand your concern.
So the assignment and the assignment, firstly, we want to say there is some condition assignment, and also the submitting is like facing the really the poor financial situation or the business model changed dramatically. Then this is the reason why we provide you the free. But
So in that case, right, I understand that you want us to stay as long as possible.
Yeah.
In that case, for subletting not under my name, then we have greater flexibility. Because that at least makes sure that I can still pay you rent.
So you wanna?
I will need a higher percentage. Come on. It cannot be just 20%. If let's say business really goes south, right? You want us to continue paying you. We would like to, but we have no resource to do that.
Yeah.
Then we have to get some substance from someone else. We might change our business model too, right?
So if you are happy with 20 years, we can go 30%.
Come on. You probably need to give me better numbers than that.
You also give me a better number.
Can we look at 40%? I didn't ask for 50. I'm already not bidding on my highest.
40% the yield is not the anchor anymore.
Yeah, but at least you have the additional revenue from them, right?
If that is a 40%, then we would like to increase to 25 years.
No.
Because
no. That can't happen. 20 years is already too long for me. That just won't happen.
So which one you think is more important for you? Assignment or subletting?
Here there are again two scenarios, right? So because when we discuss assignment, we actually say that you can only assign when you have fulfilled these two criteria: bankruptcy, or you have really a drastic strategy change, right?
Yeah.
So if let's say we pull out from EU market, then sorry, we just can't do anything about it because that's corporate strategy.
Yeah.
So in that case, then of course subletting is less important because corporate strategy is corporate strategy, right? Then assignment is more important for me to exit, right? But now, if let's say it's not because of corporate strategy, but because we are just doing shit business, right? That we just don't do well, right? Then of course subletting is at least a way to ensure that I get additional revenue rather than okay, I'm just off the business. Bye.
Because if you already did not the good job, then the subletting just started, and finally you will go for the assignment.
Yeah, I think so. So I think let's talk about assignment then. So will you be able to give me 10 years, but I can sublet only 10% if it's not under my name?
10%. I don't think that in 10 years you have any problem. Definitely, because we have
cross fingers.
We have a lot of flexibility, like even under your name, you have the really 40%.
Yeah, under my name we are fine. We're talking about the subletting not under my name.
Subletting, if you're already the subletting, I think the situation is already really bad.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's
so you need
almost
to
the same like the assignment. It's just maybe in between.
Yeah, so maybe, come on, give me a better deal for assignment and we're done.
What is your proposal?
Yeah, I proposed, right? 10 years for assignment, right? But I give you 3 years advance notice period, of course. But for subletting, I can go low, 10%.
No, for the assignment that we already said that is 3 years.
3 years notice period, right?
3 years for the assignment. We just didn't agree the 20 years.
Yeah.
So for the
You see, I will also look for top 15 if that's what you want. But give me just 10 years.
10 years for no, definitely that you will do much better than that. 10 years, because for 10 years that we already provide you 40%. If under your name, it's
but it's
actually the
under my
same.
name.
Yeah.
It's under my name. I'm still using my brand influence. So I think for subletting, we're talking about a case that's
Yes.
not under my name.
It's not
Right.
under your name.
Yeah.
So if it's not under your
No.
name, and you really have to think about if that is something that you can combine with your name. Because if you still want to if you still want to stay here, of course I think for 10 years you definitely can do it like under your name. But just to give me an example,
Yeah, it's
which
okay
one?
already. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think the curtain. Thank you. Thank you. That's very nice.
Because for 10 years, if you want to subletting that, you can under your name, right?
Oh, yeah, talking about subletting, maybe there's one more thing, right? In terms of the rates that we provide to the sublet partners, is there any restriction?
No.
No.
No, because for this one, it's still, although that is another the company, it's not under your name, but it's still that you cover all of them. So like like the financial.
Because so you are still dealing with me, but you don't deal with the sublet unit, whether they are under or they are not under my name.
Yeah. Also, you are still here, and we are happy.
Okay.
So we just want. So I think actually for this one, you can really consider just to use your name to do that. Then this will give you more flexible. I think the most important thing is about the assignment, because for that one, it's like we completely won't get divorced. And for the rest, the subletting, especially we provide every year 40%. That is a really big, it's really a good option.
Okay, so Simon, come on, we can do better.
So, so for subletting, we agree 20 years, 20 years and 2 years.
Wait, what 20 years?
No change.
That's not under my name or what?
Yeah, that's not under your name. It's for the new one. But I definitely believe this one is just to make it more, make it better for me. But for you, actually, it's the same, because you can under your name still subcontract with any partner.
Okay, so
40%.
if let's say I sublet under my name, so right now your proposal is saying I cannot sublet more than 20% of the whole space for 20 years.
Yeah.
For 20 years, but how much I sublet to the vendors is up to me.
If it's under your name, you have 40%.
Okay, and I preserve my voting power.
Yes.
Right.
For this one, actually, you don't need to worry about that. I don't think you go for that. It's just for.
We're just very pessimistic company.
We just don't want you that your name disappear, because think about if your downsides your department store, it's not good for your marketing. It's not good for your reputation.
Yeah, exactly.
People will feel really bad. Why? Then they will have they expect that you probably already going down. So we don't want you to go for that. That's the reason why I want to make it this looks like more difficult to meet. So if you want to do anything, just go for under your name.
Okay, so what can we do with assignment? I really can't do 20 years. That's for sure.
20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But your total contract 30 years.
Yeah, I know. It's a very long contract. I probably won't exist.
That is the reason why that we have a lot of benefits to provide, because for us definitely that we already invest a lot on the other.
Yeah, I understand that. So, but you also understand that I can't commit to 20 years for not assigning just due to corporate strategy change.
Okay.
It's unlikely we go bankrupt. Yeah, I agree. But it can happen if we have some corporate strategy change.
Yeah.
Which might require us to exit by.
So here we're only talking about when you have the business model change drastically. Then in that case, then we go for this one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if let's say suddenly we decide to do e-commerce instead, we are not an Amazon, then I don't need physical store. If let's say that kind of corporate strategy comes in 10 years time, then I need to leave, right?
Understand. So we agreed with all of the rest. Just now it's about the period.
Yeah.
20 years. But for the business model change, for that one, shall we have different? Shall we have some details about that?
Yeah, we can.
I don't know what kind of criteria we can use. For example, I said that for the reputation, I can use the sales revenue. But for this one, when you say that your company, the model changed dramatically out of the retail or department store, so you will not have any department store worldwide. Is
Not
that
worldwide,
okay?
but in the Europe.
In the Europe.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you decide to completely out of the Europe market,
then of course I don't need a store in Amsterdam, right?
yeah.
Right. If let's say I become e-commerce, then of course I don't need any physical store.
Okay.
Right.
So should I say that this is the only case, this is the only condition if you decided to get out of the EU market completely, or also you want to get out of the offline if you want to go for fully e-commerce?
That's potentially the two that we are looking at, but also, like I mentioned before, I think we might have a case whereby we are still in retail, we are still in Europe, but let's say not all the stores are doing fine, and Amsterdam store happens to be one of the bottom few in terms of profitability, and the corporate say, no, we don't do business anymore here for cost saving purpose. Then in that case, how, right?
Yeah, so in that case, it's not the business model changed dramatically. Actually, this is not dramatic. It's just that you still go for this industry. It's just that you feel that currently that this location maybe is not good for maybe sustainable growing or something. So that is not the dramatically change.
But then in that case, even though I'm not doing well, I still have to pay you rents for 20 years.
I think you need to think about how to improve the performance.
Yeah, of course we will do that. But if let's say after trying other things, we still can't really improve for whatever reason, bad strategy, bad people, bad talents, whatever, right?
So now why you in other locations you can do better?
Don't know. Maybe the demographics, or it can be because of the demographics, or maybe the white collar office here, they all pull out from Amsterdam because they think that office is actually a better place.
No, that is.
I mean, there is possibility, though low, right? So here, really on assignment, we're not saying that we are not good enough. We are pretty good company, just that we want to prepare for the worst case.
But I think that if you said I want to go to downsize my business, this is not the business model changed dramatically. What we are talking about is the business model change. Because if you're still in this industry but you want to downsize, then of course, this is not the business model change.
But then, yeah, I know, right? But then the thing is that you need to provide flexibility for me to do something about it, right? So
Yeah.
if let's say it happened that I'm on the cross out list, right? I'm just being crossed out by corporate. They don't care whether you do something here or not. They just cross us out.
And
What do
here,
we do?
I understand your concern. So that is my thinking is that if we can agree the model change, then the years that we can reduce. But
Okay.
if it's just for the company's individual decision, I want to downsize, like I want to lay off my employees.
Yeah, it's costly for us too.
Yeah, then this is another story. And in this case, I would also like, I mean, to increase the year, because in that case it's not about the other things. It's about your company's individual.
No, but then, yeah, so I agree, right? So for the core business, like a business model of withdraw from the whole Europe kind of thing, let's reduce it
Let's reduce it.
Let's reduce a year.
Yeah.
Okay, my concern here is, when we get crossed out from by the company, likely because our profitability is not good, right? Which means that we are not in bankruptcy, but we are not in a good financial situation. So that's why we have to lay off people and take the damage on reputation and all that. So for you, I think it may not be even wise to keep us here, because if this nationally recognized famous franchise store start laying off people, you also get a hint that you get screwed, right?
It's the same for you, because
exactly.
then
So
if you downsize this one in Amsterdam, then how can you explain to your shareholders and also the customers, even though you still keep the other business in other countries, rest of the Europe, that they still feel that you're already facing some problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I know, right? But that already, let's say, happened. So we already take the damage. Everyone's just suspicious of us, whether we can survive or not.
Yeah.
That kind of story goes on. Yeah.
So we still
but
want you.
In that case, I was saying that if actually public has general doubt about us, then you will have the same doubt about us, whether we can still stay profitable, stable, drawing traffic to the building, right? Then in that case, you may not want us to be here either. You may consider changing to someone else.
But we would like to see what is the whole picture, because if in other areas that you are really good, then that means this is something happened only in Amsterdam. So we need to understand how we can help you, because if you said it is just only something that you're unable to change, then you also have the subletting. You also have that one can provide you some backup. For this one, for the assignment, it's really situation like you are unable to change. It's really bad. Otherwise, we definitely want you to stay here. And
of course, we want to stay here too.
Yeah, and also
right. So let's put aside the corporate part, like we get crossed out. What if market change, like a consumer don't want to go for shopping?
Yeah,
right.
E-commerce, so it's fine.
No, but we may not have the capability to go for e-commerce. So we are stuck in that case, right? So we can't do e-commerce because we don't have the capability to do so, right? Consumers are not coming, so even if you give discount, you put innovation stuff, they just want to stay at home and order from app, then too bad, they just don't come. No matter how much I change in terms of the space used or whether I sell better anyone or not, it just don't help, right? So in that case, it hurts my financial stability, and I might need a solution to exit, right?
Yeah, in that case, it's not about Amsterdam, it's about the whole world, the whole Europe. So if you said, I'm completely out of Europe, I'm fine.
No, but you see, if we are not doing well whole worldwide wise, it's unlikely that we say that we're gonna shut down everything in Europe. But it might just start saying that, oh, let's shut down the one in London and let's shut down the one in Amsterdam. While the others, 2 years later, you shut down slowly. So in that case, I need the flexibility. I'm not yet out of the business totally, but I'm on the way already, right? So in that kind of situation, so I need a way to figure out. I can't be paying rent all for 20 years and get stuck here, right?
Yeah, so you can go for the subletting.
Now, like I said, if the market is not responsive to even sublet or to whatever innovative use that you could put in the business, then we're just screwed, right?
But that is because you're talking about the specific location. If that is the economy risk or
or
something.
maybe that economy is bad while others is still fine.
Now
that could happen, right?
We can let's maybe make something in between. It's like if for the e-commerce, I mean the business model changed.
Yeah.
If you complete out of Europe, or you go for other, I mean it's not for the department store.
Yeah.
For this one, I would like support you to reduce the years. But if for just the financial reason, because maybe you want to reorganize your company and you want to just downsize for that one, let's keep it.
Let's keep it, you mean keep it to 20 years?
Yes, because for this one, it's not the worst situation for you. Because if you still have the business in other countries, then this one will also affect that.
Okay.
Everybody is looking at the whole picture.
Okay, so for bankruptcy and drastic business model change, or drastic corporate strategy change, right? How many years are you looking at?
What do you want?
I was thinking if you can offer me 8 years for this kind of models, right? Model change, and then for financial reason, give me 15.
You have to give me a better number.
Well, I think this is already the best I can give.
Because as mentioned, that all these financial reports right now, there is no any sign that you will have something. Yeah.
Right. That's not about now. It's about future. I'm worried more for future. We are pessimistic people here.
Yeah. We are also care about the future. That is the reason why we want to work with you, because to be honest, our waiting list, there's also other companies.
Yeah, I know.
So we're also talking with them, but really we really want to work with you is because we believe your financial is really strong, and of course we also concerned that if you are not the financial, sustainable, that in future also ruin our reputation.
Yeah, I know. We are on the same boat, alright?
Yeah.
We get that. It just said 20 years is too long.
20 years for the downsize, that is definitely fine, because for the first 10 years.
Let's have just 15 years for the downsize part. Because by the time I start downsizing, I'm really the hot potato that nobody wants to have. Seriously.
Because when you have the downsides, we also have the downsides.
No, you can have other tenants who fill up the space. You can open the internet cafe.
You are the top 5 that in Europe, and if you have the problem, we also have the problem.
Nokia used to be number 1 in the phone. Where they are now, they're in the dust, right? Come on, this kind of thing could happen.
Let's first to see what we can do for this business model change dramatically.
Okay.
For that one, 18 years?
18 years, no. Just no.
Why?
That's too long. Even for drastic change, 18 years, no, that's just too long. Because 20 is already too long. I'm looking at 10. Really, that's like the best I can go for.
The best is 10?
Yeah. So I want 8.
For me, it's also the same, because for all the financial investment, or I also ask you that if possible that you can provide some, like the fee, because for the financial we already invested, 10 years is unable to cover that. because the buildings actually
Even the
is
sales rents can't cover that?
no, because you know that for this building
It's
that
10
we
years,
no we are the depreciation is based on the 70 years. So 10 years is really too low unless that you can do something about like the penalty fee or something.
How about
And also think about that you have the 3 years notice period. So if you said 10 years, that means in the 7th years that you will say, oh, I have a problem. Come on, that you see that in the 7 years, definitely that's not
no,
happening.
but and on the 7th year, I'm only
Uh-huh.
telling you I'm
Yeah.
not going to exit, but then I'm still doing whatever I should do until the 10th year, right?
Yeah,
Because 3 years is only notice period. It's not like
yeah,
telling you I'm done and then
Yeah.
I go off. So you
Yeah.
still have 10 years for that.
we still have 10 years, but I mean, when you have the 7 years, you definitely you cannot do that because
But
the
the early termination.
5 years.
But here we are talking about assignment. We are looking for someone to replace us, not saying early termination like I just go off.
Yeah.
Because the new tenants actually will continue to be here paying you all the rent, so you don't actually lose the entire investment in your
It's
building.
another company. Why we should not contact them? I mean, sign contract with them right now, because if we do it later on, everything will change. And also we will talk with our other the satellite. It's also a lot of problem, especially I think right now. This location is good because that the Amsterdam, there is no any other the big complex like this.
Yeah.
The shopping mall. This is also the reason why in the northeast this is the new area. And for the old city center, you are unable to find any other place can build the building like this. So this is really good opportunity. Now, of course, we want to work with partner for a longer contract. But if you're 10 years, 10 years, then it's
10 years is pretty long.
it's not long. It's this office building. You need to sign a contract for 5 years. And
I've already signed like twice.
yes, and this is the office building, and there's no any customized situation. That it's just the standard. So everything that we provide to you is really it's really customized, and also is a fully flexible for how to use it. And also, for example, we will give you 40% every year. You can just change what you want. I don't think anyone can give you such big.
Well, you know,
rule.
for other developers, we sign full flexibility on this. We don't even talk about how many years. We have full flexibility.
Talking about Amsterdam, you know that the price is how high. I mean, for the real estate right now, and also that this is the only country that speak English so fluent. That in
We
Europe,
also have Denmark.
after Denmark, what is the population?
Oh, that's way smaller though. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so let's make it happen and just think about that something
But
more than 10 years. 10
I've
years
already
really.
tell you that 10 years is like the best for drastic model change, right? So how about if for non-drastic model change like financial issues? Alright. I wonder which one is actually better. If let's say we want to pay you for compensation.
Yeah.
In that case, then how much are you looking at?
We'll see how many years we still have.
But you can't expect me to pay all the remaining years,
no,
right?
it's like if you earlier, and of course will be higher, so it's like the linear, the rate. But generally speaking, I don't think that is a good idea, because if you're talking about that, it's we're talking about assignment is only about you have the big financial problem or that you completely change. This is a really worse situation.
You know, I really want 10 years. It can't go higher than that.
How about the downsides?
For downsides, if for subletting under my name, if you can give me 50%, I will just stick to 18 years.
50%? No, we.
50.
No,
50. Right now we are saying 40%, right?
Yeah.
So what if we say 50% of the total space can be allowed for change every year? Though I don't think we will use up to that amount, right? But I will stick to 18 years assignment. If let's say it's because of the reason we're not doing well.
Why you want the 50%?
Yeah, just have more flexibility by getting more vendors to sell stuff rather than us working our ass off, right?
Then 10 years for the business model and 18 years for the economic reason. I mean, the company.
Yeah.
50%, that is really a lot.
I know, but that's for flexibility, right? Like I said, I may not use up to all of that.
You know, the really big problem for me is the economy reason, and you want to go for assignment.
Yeah.
Because that I also really want to go for 20.
No, but then you see, because it's assignment, it's not like there's nobody else to continue the business. You still continue receiving rents.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Technically, you lose much less than I do. I have to lay off so many people. I have to take the reputation damage. But on your side, you can rent it to another person. You continue to have a stable income. Seriously, this is much better deal for you compared to me, right?
But I don't think this will happen, generally speaking.
I don't wish that to happen too, right? So what we are talking about, all these is a hypothetical worst case scenario.
You know, for the subletting, that is really something is really useful for you. And I also give you a really good option and 40%. So you almost changed everything.
Not everything, it's not 100%, it's just 50. Come on, we're almost there.
For the for the economy, 19 years.
No, come on, 1 year doesn't make a difference here.
1 year make difference because this is also based on our financial, analysis that because you know the depreciation of the.
What kind of depreciation method you use? Linear or what?
This is really huge. This is really huge. We cannot depreciate in 5 years. Definitely unable.
No, I'm not saying you depreciate over 5 years. But what I'm saying is maybe it's enough to cover you for the customization that you made for Sami store when we joined. Right? Because that's the additional cost that you don't have when you get other, stores. Right? So if our rent actually covers those customization costs, technically the building, whether we are there or not, it depreciates anyway.
Okay, so.
And we actually found you good quality tenants based on the criteria that we set. We actually take the effort to actively look for.
But that is also changed a lot of the expectation and also the customers. It's a lot because normally in our company's history, we never do something like this.
And you don't really have a long history. Things can change. But we have a long history whereby we have full flexibility. Consider that.
Let's increase the 10 years too. Can we do the same? 80 years?
No. That's just a no.
Why?
That's too long, right? Because we are talking about drastic business change.
Yeah.
Right? That happens just, it's not because we are not doing our parts. It just, external things are beyond our control. So that's why we have to have the flexibility to exit. While I agree, if I suck at doing my job, I have to figure out something for myself. So that's why I agree for a longer term in assignment. But really consider the fact that assignment is not just early termination. I actually do get you new tenants.
I understand.
That the new person will continue paying.
Yeah, but for the 10 years, because you have the flexible, but the problem is that it's really pity. And if you already have the idea that I probably in 10 years I want to go for e-commerce, I want to go for other areas out of European Union. Now, if you already have that kind of thinking, we already said, okay, let's stop it and let's hold it. Because
no, we are talking about worst case scenario. We are not saying that we will actually do it. That's not happening.
But even this is the worst scenario, the worst case. But that is not a really benefit for us to continue discuss. Because 10 years, that is really short period. And you know that we built this shopping mall that did 3 years, and also that this is a Europe.
We already waited 3 years.
This is Europe. It's not in China or in India.
See, we already waited for you to build a building for 3 years, right? We actually the anchor store. We provide you the main financing here. Because before others actually pay you so that you have the money to build a building, right? So we are very important.
You pay us the.
Yes, we provide the financing to you actually.
Are you sure?
Yes, that was written. It is in my paper. We actually provide the financing, right? Not the complete financing though, of course.
In my paper, that the financing is from the bank.
Yes, but
so that is the reason why the bank need the long term.
By signing the contract, we provide you advance payment so that you have some finance to also kickstart your project. So you do get loans from banks, of course, but signing the agreement, anchor store do pay you for that.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
You think about that. Another number higher than 10 years. This is really important because
how about we stick to the drastic change for 10 years, and then for the economy problem, let's just finish at 19 years, like what you wanted.
No, 10 years is really too short.
Come on.
10 years is really too short.
I thought that we kind of agreed to that already, like 10 years and then for 19 years. That worked for you just now, no?
My best planning is that you should have the same, like 19 years as for that one. But I understand that it's just your. So let's make the last trial, okay? 16 years.
For both?
For the two out of Europe Union, and also the e-commerce, the business model changed dramatically. So for this one,
16 years is a bit too long for me. Come on.
For this one, we can just make it business model change dramatically. Now I said, for example, like out of European Union, e-commerce. For the rest, I don't know, but it's fine. You can think about that. If there's a business model change, you are not working for department store, the retail, that is also fine.
No, so what's the final proposal here? I'm a bit confused. So for bankruptcy business model change, you want 16 years.
Yeah.
And then for not doing well, financial
19.
19.
Yeah.
Come on. We can do better than that. Really.
We already did that really bad. Because the most important thing for you is that the 40%, that is really a lot. Because firstly, as I mentioned, I want to do 10%. Because I know that is important for you. But for me, that the period for me is just important for me.
Yeah.
Because that one, you know that you will not go for that bad in 10 years. Of course.
16 years is a bit too long for me, really. We can't stick to 10 years and 19 years?
No, 10 years is too short.
But then you know that this 10 years is just for the worst case scenario. It doesn't mean that it will happen, right?
Yeah. But you know that for the 40%, that is really, really big. Normally, you will never see that any company will change this so fast, so quickly.
We're not saying that we change it so fast, so quickly. We just want to have flexibility.
Yeah, you have the flexibility. You also have the subletting.
Yeah. When I put 16 and 19, that's really too long.
We have 30 years contract. 30 years contract.
That's already like more than half.
Yeah.
But what if we don't make it halfway, right? That's my concern here.
No, we don't make halfway. It's of course there should be more than half because when you see that because right now you already can see that the 10 years, 20 years, what is that? Otherwise you will not sign a contract for 30 years.
Alright. Yeah, I know, but still, I will get fired for this.
I know you want a flexible, so that this is definitely the 40% every year. That is really good one, and you can emphasize that. And also,
that's not how my boss judged me. I will fill my annual performance review. I should start typing my resignation. No, it's really too long for me to take.
Okay, what is your boss that give you the deadline?
The deadline? You mean the time?
Deadline.
Yeah. Deadline is Thursday, right? Which is just a few more days.
Yeah. Do you think you still can talk with your boss? Because for me, that definitely that this, yeah.
No, because by Thursday, you know, she already want to finalize this, which means that we have to review today. So
he gave you any guideline?
Yeah, she told me that 10 years is the best, so I'm really proposing 10 years.
No, 10 years. 10
years for drastic change. Alright, I've already agreed that economy, if we just don't do well, suck it up, let's stick to 19 years. This is really the best I can do for you. You have to consider I don't want anything close to 20 in the first place.
10 years.
Yep.
But this one, as mentioned, that now we are pretty flexible for the business model change. If you said 10 years, this is the best you can offer. Otherwise, that you are unable. Of course, I won't help you to do that. So in that case, I want to narrow the range. So only two options, only two cases that you are able to make the assignment in 10 years. That is, you completely out of European Union market, and also you completely out of the
physical retail.
Yeah, and then you go for 100% e-com.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then just do me a favor for the downside for that one. Let's go for 20 years. Now we make it.
No, come on, that's 19. 20 is really bad. Please.
Why? 1 year for you? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, actually, I would prefer 10 years too, no? But I already gave you like 9 years more. Come on. See, imagine if we are already doing bad in business, alright? We are really a hot potato then that nobody wants to have. If you get me, you are trying to throw me away because I'm downsizing. Right? You don't want to have a store that actually has foreseeable
No, just 1 year.
instability.
Now we are talking about 1 year. Even for the 10 years, I already meet your. You said that this is the best you can do. I already do that, and for 20 years, because for me the contract is 30 years. Generally speaking, that we should go for that. But I know this is important for you, and also I don't think this will happen. So I propose that like that. I hope you can really take it. Just 1 year, 20 years. Make it happy. It's around 0.
We can make it unique, like 19.
If you really want to go for 19, then I would like to change a little bit about the 40%. Because for that one, it's also a lot. I already mentioned for this one, I think this one is much better than 19 years. Because this one is really something you can use daily.
Let's just explore the possibility. If let's say because I'm not doing well, I'm forced to exit the contract by assigning to someone else to continue paying you, right? What kind of compensation you're looking at? Because there's no need to say that I need to pay according to how much % of my remaining rent, because that is already been taken care of by the next tenant. So maybe I should be compensating you only for the customization that's done specifically just for Sunday store.
No, for us, because you mentioned that you finance us, but our major part of finance is from the bank. And the bank, they have the system to check how is that. They do believe that the risk, if the reduce the contract year, is a really huge risk. Yeah, even it's the contract year is important, and also the subletting and also the assignment, that is also really important. So actually from my side, I understand that for you 10 years is really important. So I said that under these 2 really difficult situation, and we can get rid of that. I'm confident I can talk with them about these 2. But for the rest, for another one, because that is really something you individual decide. Because then you can decide that I close London or Amsterdam. Somebody else cannot influence you. So for this one, I have to go a little bit higher level, and then to make sure that the bank they are happy. So this is the reason why. So I really want you can take the 20 years, because that is because of your downside. And why you choose Amsterdam, you don't choose London or choose other places.
We already have a London store. So there's nothing to choose, and they're fully flexible with me assigning.
Yeah, because for this one, consider that this is really a good opportunity, and
Not 19, please.
20.
See, it's 19 years, and then I'll have 2-year notice period. So at least I can tell my boss, I at least giving you the chance to start considering on the 16th.
No, we already agreed 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So by the year 16, I should already know if I need to assign or not. Right? Then at least I can tell my boss, I achieved this kind of flexibility for you. Right? But if I say it's 20 years, then come on, there's another 17 years. That can sound too long. Because 16, at least I'm halfway, just slightly over halfway, 15 years out of the total contract. I'm also trying to juggle the things a bit here.
But this is the situation is like, but 10 years, that one is more important for you.
Yes. But then if we are doing badly, then...
If you want a 19, okay, then let's make that the 15 years.
Which one?
The
original one.
The business model change.
No. Seriously, there's no no room that we can go for?
I'm begging you 1 year. Because I already mentioned that because we are facing the pressure from the bank. Because they really structured them for 1 year or 2. Because as mentioned that I already reduced my expectation, because I don't think that for the first 2 cases that will happen.
Yeah.
I just use my industrial experience. I don't think that will happen. So that is the reason why I agree 10 years, but I really do support 20 years because this is the individual reason.
Okay, I get it. It's hard. Hope my boss doesn't fire me.
No.
Okay, so let's skip to 10 years for the drastic model change.
Yeah.
And then 20 years for the
Okay.
Other parts.
Great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We come to the conclusion.